Going on YouTube, Cloverbells here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be looking at Galarian Moltres for the Regulation D format. So, Moltres is one of the, new additions that we're going to be getting for Regulation D from, the Pokemon Home update. It's another Sword and Shield favorite, one of my personal favorites actually, and one that I look to be using quite a lot as the format progresses. Basically, the way it works is, with this ability called Berserk, you're going to get a +1 boost to your special attack when you reach a half of your HP or less. So often enough, what ends up happening is, you'll see this Moltres paired a lot with something like a Recovery Berry, in this case Citrus Berry, because when you dip below half, of course, the Citrus Berry activates, and not only does the Citrus Berry activate, but the Berserk activates, which means now you're going to recover health and get a +1 boost over time, right? Not over time, but like immediately. Okay, and then from here, again, like what we're gonna do with this video is just give you some ideas on what you can do with Galarian Moltres, and the data says there's a lot of different ways and teams that you can use with the Moltres, and that have been proven to be successful within these best of 3 tournaments. But just to show you what I think you can do is, first of all, I look at Moltres as typing Dark Flying, really nice, able to neutralize the fighting weakness that Dark type already has, thanks to its dual typing and flying. But then from there, you have to consider, you're weak to Fairy, consider the Flutter Mane, Enamorous stuff that you're weak to. And then from there, also consider you're weak to Electric type. So imagine Iron Hands, imagine Regieleki, right? So you can take care of both of those weaknesses immediately with just 2 options on the team, right? If you consider something like Landorus, okay, what Landorus will do is, first of all, it'll give you electric immunity to, Regieleki, as well as the Iron Hands. And not only that, it'll actually intimidate the Iron Hands. So this way you're reducing damage overall. And Landorus is also a really good Pokemon with Moltres, because if you look at Moltres' stats, right? Base 90 HP, base 125 special defense, very bulky on the special end. It's also pretty bulky on the defensive end as well, especially when you pair it with an intimidator like Landorus, right? So now you have some good synergy there in the sense that you're able to take more damage, and if they do clip you below half, you'll just recover back with the Citrus Berry, and then from there you can just spam your signature move, Fiery Wrath, which again is a 100% accurate move that can give you a 20% chance to flinch both opponents, which is really nice. And then at the same time, you get your own spread move here with Landorus with Earthquake, and you can click that next to Moltres because you are a flying type. So really good synergy here with Landorus and Moltres, all things considered, right? The Landorus really helps it. And then you have to just consider, okay, how do I take care of the Fairy weakness, because the Moltres being a Dark type is weak to that. So a couple of ways you can do that. You can go Terra Steel to resist the Fairy damage, or you can have a Steel type on your team named Heatran here, right? And Heatran is another good Pokemon, just because, again, against the Flutter Mane and Chi-Yu matchup, this Steel Fire typing with Flash Fire is actually really nice. But you also possess Flash Cannon, okay? And the way I like to play Heatran at the moment, I like to go Life Orb on this thing just to deal like really big damage with it. Okay, and you can get lots of speed control from this move that Moltres gets in this generation that it did not get in Sword and Shield, and that is Tailwind, right? So now you can have, a relatively fast mode with the Moltres, Landorus, and Heatran as your centerpiece core. Again, the Heatran being that Steel typing that's really nice against those fairies that are running around right now, and just being able to resist that super effective damage as a nice little pivot option is really nice. Okay, so you can start here, okay, and then often enough, you'll see like an Amoongus, on teams like this, like Landorus, Amoongus, and Moltres was a very common core that you saw in Sword and Shield, especially in Dynamax format, especially when Moltres ran like Nasty Plot. So this way you can use the Amoongus to redirect and help set up the Nasty Plot. And then from there, if they do KO the Amoongus, you could just use the +2 advantage from there and just click +2 Fiery Rats and whatnot. But you gotta also have a flying move here with the just the Air Slash potential. Okay, so just be aware with that. Okay. Over here, I just wanted to put that in there. Sorry, I had a little sidetrack there on my other screen. So then from here, a lot of different ideas can work, but I do like this starting core, okay? You could even use something like Cresselia, which pairs very well with the Landorus, Amoongus, Heatran, of course, right? AKA the old chalk core. And then you just slap on Urshifu, right? Water Urshifu, you know, just seems like so broken just to not use, okay? And again, at the same time, you get this fire, water, grass core, you know, with the Urshifu, the Amoongus, and the Heatran, okay? Like, you can even consider Rillaboom in this slot, but I feel like that team would look a little bit different. But again, you know, Urshifu, another water type that doesn't really like to take electric damage or grass damage. So you have something like Heatran and Landorus to be able to pivot into those slots and take care of those problems. No biggie, okay? And then for Cresselia, of course, you're gonna get access to another speed control move with Trick Room. And I also like Icy Wind on this, believe it or not, okay? Because I kind of have like mid-tier Pokemon here. I have Moltres, Landorus, you know, both of these are base 90 Pokemon. Then at the same time, I have Heatran and Urshifu. Again, 77 and a 97 base speed mons. Like, they're in the middle of the tier in terms of, you know, speed. So Icy Wind and Trick Room along with Tailwind makes a lot of sense on a team like this. You know, just in my opinion. And again, I was testing this 6 and it worked out relatively well. Heatran came in very specific matchups. I would say I brought Landorus to pretty much almost all my games. Okay, as well as Urshifu. All right, and then the Moltres was a little bit more used than the Heatran, but, you know, Moltres, again, with this start coverage, you have something for, you know, Cresselia on the special defensive side, and then, you know, you can do super effective damage to, like, Rillaboom, Urshifu, you know, that kind of stuff. So Moltres has a place in this meta at the moment, especially when you have lots of, you know, good mons like this, right? So what I'm going to show you now is just, like, other people's teams from tournaments that have also been successful, that have used some of the ideas that I've shown you here so far, as well as a couple different ideas, okay? So let's take a look. Okay, so this one is from the IR Nemesis Regulation Detour, and we do have a Moltres team over here that went 4-2, top 20, okay? And this one involves, again, the Heatran, at the same time with the Water Urshifu. And then here's the Rillaboom instead of the Amoongus. So I knew this Fire, Water, Grass core would also come for Moltres. It makes a lot of sense. Then you get a little bit more speed control with another Genie in Thundurus. All right, because you get Thunder Wave and Eerie Impulse. So this way, you're able to neuter other special attackers, you know, that want to deal big damage to Moltres. Like, let's say a Flutter Mane that wants to click Moonblast into Moltres. It's not going to work because you can just Thunder Wave it or Eerie Impulse it at the same time. Then, you know, you throw in the Sneasler combination with Rillaboom over here, and it just makes a lot of sense. I believe this is Winter Knight's team, okay? And we faced it in the previous video. Someone was using it. So I do like this combination with Rillaboom and Sneasler. I feel like this will get its own video at some point. But again, Fire, Water, Grass core with Rillaboom, Urshifu-Rapid Strike, and Heatran is really nice with some speed control mod paired next to it with Cresselia. By the way, I just want to mention that along with Cresselia, right, what Cresselia also gets here is Lunar Blessing, okay, which is really good with Moltres, right? Because let's say the opponents keep chipping down the Moltres, right? And then from there, what you can do is just keep healing it with Lunar Blessing. So this way you're going back and forth, eclipsing half of your HP, and then just healing the Moltres over time. And then, you know, you're just keep getting, you keep getting back your, you know, your Berserk. And Amoongus has that ability too with Pollen Puff, right? This is why Amoongus is also really nice with Moltres, because, you know, anytime the Moltres is taking like significant damage, you just heal it back with Pollen Puff and you get to keep your Berserk boost, right? So two healers on the team, an Intimidator, you know, a couple speed control options here, which is also why I was starting off with this 6. But, you know, I didn't mean to interrupt like the other players' team, but I just wanted to say that about Cresselia. Then if we take a look over here in the Mouse Tour, there was actually a winning Moltres team here from Luca, 8-1, very good result. And this one also has the Landorus, also has the Amoongus, you know, very nice core there. But then you add the Iron Hands here. And this is a really good option with Galarian Moltres, because then you can set up your Tailwind, because you not only have redirection from the Amoongus, but you have Fake Out Pressure from the Iron Hands. And now what you're able to have on your team is you have an Intimidator, you have a Fake Out user, and you have redirection support. Okay, and you have speed control with Tailwind. And then, you know, you just have 2 other breakers on your team with the Urshifu-Rapid Strike, of course. And here's a Flutter Mane, okay, you know, just coming in from the back and clicking Substitute, hiding behind it, and then just clicking, you know, Shadow Ball and Dazzling Gleam, that kind of thing. But Again, I digress. So here again, you see the same core that we were using. Just here's an Iron Hands for fake out, but you still got Urshifu, Amoongus, no Heatran here. Instead, we're going with Fluttermane, and here's the Landorus that we also had as well. Okay, moving on, we look at this team over here, the Beanie Brawl. That again, another really big person tournament, and there was another Moltres team. This is not that one. This one was actually the Fire Moltres from Hikaru. But if you scroll down a little bit, you can see another Moltres here from Mr. Patel over here. So where is it? Yeah, right here. So basically, the idea is to pair Grimmsnarl with the Moltres, set it up behind screen, so this way you're mitigating that damage that Moltres is going to be taking. And then from there, you still have the Landorus, and then you still get a redirection Pokemon in Mousehold over here with the Rocky Helmet chip. But similar ideas with Landorus, Mousehold with Landorus, Amoongus. But now you also add the Orthworm, which again has good synergy with Landorus, and it fills that Heatran Steel type role where you have, you know, a Steel type option against an opposing Fluttermane, which Orthworm has over here, right? So then you just slap on the Fluttermane here and just like another special attacker paired with Galarian Moltres in the back. Again, hiding behind the screens of Grimmsnarl is just another way to use it. I did this back in Sword and Shield as well. You know, it's just a really good option, you know, just to pair it together. And then you might say, well, both of these are weak to Fluttermane. Not necessarily, because again, you have Light Screen to be able to mitigate that damage. And then at the same time, you can always, you know, go for Power Hacks and paralyze it. And then at the same time, you know, from there, you also have the Mousehold here that you can always pivot into and then just, you know, be able to take those attacks later, eventually, and then just survive, heal it back, and then, you know, take things from there. But this is another way to do it. 4 and 3, not a bad result. I feel like it's okay. This is another one. All right, so Moltres again. Here's the Rapid Urshifu Strike. Here's the Amoongus again. Here's the Iron Hands, that fake out user that we saw in the other team. But here's the Tornadus providing Tailwind for the Moltres instead of the Moltres actually using Tailwind. And here's Iron Bundle again. Iron Bundle and Rapid Strike, I feel like you can use together just because they are both fundamentally different Pokemon, right? Was there another one here that I was looking at? I think there was, but I may have skipped it. But I believe that's all there is for there. Was there another Moltres team? No, that's pretty much it. Okay, so then we look at Maikaru's team over here from the Nino Pokebros Tour, and Maikaru had another idea, which is something that we've seen already, is again still sticking with the Grimmsnarl idea and still having Urshifu-Rapid Strike, Rillaboom, and Heatran. So still you get that Fire Water Grass core that we saw over here from Winter Knight's team. You know, same concept, except they have a Thundurus here, whereas Maikaru is using Grimmsnarl. So some prankster user, you know, giving screen support, and also, you know, a little bit of speed control with Thunder Wave. There is Hurricane here, okay, instead of Air Sled, but again, that's still okay. And then the Cresselia over here, you know, giving good synergy here with, again, with Trick Room, because, you know, Moltres is already relatively slow, and here's the Heatran, you know, same idea. So Cress looking really good here on Moltres teams, and just also, you know, Heatran and Landorus, you know, in general. So you might see like all 4 options, or at least 2 of the 3 options. And here, that's exactly what we see here. So then we go here to Leozin's team, you know, went 4 and 2, another Moltres team, actually 5 and 1, not 4 and 2. Again, this one with Galarian Moltres, still another Grimmsnarl user, still another Amoongus. There's Heatran, there's Iron Hands. So same idea. Instead of having an Urshifu, again, you have the Iron Bundle, which is still fine. But again, another fake out user, redirection support. No Intimidate here, but that's okay. You have Screens, which is, again, another kind of form of Intimidate. So, you know, Galarian Moltres, Grimmsnarl, Iron Hands, Grimmsnarl, Heatran, Grimmsnarl. These are all, you know, really good options to pair and start, you know, next to Grimmsnarl, I would say. And I like it a lot. Like, you got Icy Wind here, you got Thunder Wave over here, you got oh no, there's no Tailwind over here. So 2 forms of speed control, but again, fake out, redirection, you know, all really nice options along with the screen. So, you know, another nice idea from Leozin. Then we go over here to El Magician. This one was a tournament today, I believe. You know, where we also have another Moltres idea. Still, we do see another prankster user in Thundurus. We have another redirector in Mousehold instead of the Amoongus. Heatran, Urshifu, they're coming here. But then we have Excalibur over here. This one is the the odd one here, but again, still makes some sense. You know, you want, you know, good ice coverage against a lot of the genies because, you know, they're weak to ice. Especially Ice Shard from Backscalper is going to hurt a lot. You also get Stomping Tantrum here, right? And you also, you want that ground coverage against, I would say, some Iron Hands users. You know, makes a lot of sense there. But, you know, again, similar ideas from all of these teams, right? And how they want to play it. You either go stuff like, you know, Grimmsnarl, Galarian Moltres, or you go like Fire Water Grass Core where, you know, the Urshifu, Rapid Strike, and then Heatran, and then you can also go, you know, ideas with Cresselia, which we saw, I believe, over here. Yep, Cresselia over here, and then you can also just consider like Galarian Moltres, Landorus, Amoongus, which I think was over here. Yep, and then Iron Hands is another option to slap on here if you can fit it in. It really just depends on how you want to run your Galarian Moltres team, but again, all these ideas work because these are all from relatively good teams. So hopefully, at the very least, just by showcasing those teams, I've given you some ideas on how you may want to play your Moltres, whether you want to play like with or without Tailwind. Either way, you know, it's totally up to you. But what we're going to do now is go back here into Showdown and just show you at least this version of the team that I was using, you know, when the format started. And, you know, it was still relatively good. Okay, and then from there, I can show you like other versions of this team that we can use, you know, using some of the other options that we saw from the other teams. And then a little bit of practice games just to show you how this team works. Okay, so let's go back here to the Galarian Moltres here. So we're going to stay with the Tailwind route. And what that means is we're going to go with a speed tier to outspeed Regieleki under Tailwind. And I talked about this in my other video. That's going to be 139 because 139 under Tailwind will go to 278. And that 278 is what outspeeds Regieleki. But to do that, I'm going to need to go modest. And I'm going to need to go all the way up to here, 228, right? 139. That's all I need. And then from there, I'm just going to go to the second benchmark here in the modest nature, because you can see how you go from 152 to 154. It jumps up to 2 points rather than 1 point. This is what we call an EV bump. And once again, I say it in every single team building video that I have. If you don't know what EV bumps are, or if you don't know what EV jumps are, feel free to comment in the video description below, because if you're trying to play competitive Pokemon, you got to know what these bumps are. Because this is what gives you guidelines into creating EV spreads like I'm showing you over here. But I digress. Then from here, you just want to add pretty much, you know, the rest into your HP bulk like this, nice even number, and then just dump the rest into your defenses like this. But the whole idea is, again, we're at the second benchmark in the, you know, modest nature, but under Tailwind, we're just meant to outspeed Regieleki for that matter. Okay. Then from here, Landorus. So with Landorus, you know, I just want to go Adamant 116 and just be relatively bulky, because I'm just basically a U-turn pivot option, right? I'm going to be going for Earthquake, the occasional Stomping Tantrum. I'm going to go for U-turn. And eventually, I also have Terra Blast, Terra Flying if I ever need to use it, especially against like an opposing Amoongus, for example, or another opposing grass type. So this is also some option here, but it will get the Assault Vest. And I'm still going to go Adamant 116. Okay. And as far as HP is concerned, I like 212. This is going to get me to that magical 191 optimized HP number, you know, meant for weather damage, especially back in Sword and Shield when you took damage from, you know, Hailstorm, you know, the occasional chip, but that doesn't work anymore. You're still taking chip from sand. This is going to be okay and used more when Tyranitar is going to be used more, especially after Terrestrialization. So I feel like that's going to be good. Then from there, honestly, you can just put 1 point in the bulk like this. 2 points actually, just so that you have a nice even number. 1 point in speed, like in defense like this, and then the rest just gets dumped into your speed, right? And this is pretty much all I really want out of my Landorus. Again, I'm not going to outspeed Aleki, but I don't need to, because Aleki doesn't really hit me unless it has Terra Blast, Terra Ice. So that's something that I would see in the open team sheet and be aware of. But other than that, this is all I need my Landorus to do. Cresselia over here. So I like Psychic here in the last slot as a, you know, of course, our main damage dealing move. Great into like other Amoonguses, great into Urshifu. You know, that alone gives you merit for running Psychic. You can also technically use Moonblast, okay? You know, for the Urshifu matchup and other dark types in general. If you want to go that route, but you are I do definitely like Terra Flying over here. I'm sorry, Terra Fairy is what I meant to say. So this way you get a nice boost in your Moonblast. But that being said, I do like Psychic. I feel like dealing good damage, good stab damage, especially into Amoongus, is going to be important. And I do like safety goggles here. You can also consider like mental herb. So this way, if you get taunted, that gives you a get out of jail for free for 1 turn. But in Trick Room, I don't want to get spored by Amoongus, so I'm just going to do this. And for my partners, if they're going to get spored, this is why you run Lunar Blessing. So this way you can get rid of that status condition. All right. Then from here, the Heatran. Again, I'll come back to these EV spreads in a second. I just want to round out the movesets and items. Heatran, you got to have a fire move, in my opinion. And then Flash Cannon, we already have already. Okay. Then Earth Power is really nice, especially against Regieleki. Okay. And then it gives you a special ground coverage move. You can also consider like Terra Blast, Terra Grass, which we are going to go with in terms of our Terra option. Okay. And if you like Terra Blast, Terra Grass instead of Earth Power, feel free to do that. But I liked Earth Power when I was testing it. But for the sake of you guys, I'll leave Terra Blast here. We already have ground coverage in the Landorus, so, you know, especially against like Ursaluna, like grass coverage is actually important. You don't always have to rely on your Urshifu-Rapid Strike, right? I feel like still a good grass move is important. Okay, so for you guys, I'll leave Terra Blast, Terra Grass. The Amoongus, you know, again, very standard Amoongus set. We'll go Rage Powder. We'll go Pollen Puff. We'll go Spore, then Pollen Puff, then Protect. If Dondozo comes back, then we'll put Haze, or not Haze, a Clear Smog, but I think it's pretty much Dunzo is the Dondozo. And then I really like Rocky Helmet on Amoongus these days, because again, you're chipping the Urshifu, breaking the Sash of either that or the Chien-Pao, also breaking Dragonite Multiscale. And Urshifu does so much damage to itself, you know, because of this Rocky Helmet chip damage, right? Which is forcing some of them to go with the protective pads, which I understand, okay? But I just feel like either Mystic Water or Focus Sash is a good item on it. But if you feel like you're hitting into way too many Rocky Helmet Amoonguses or Landoruses or Cresselias, then feel free to go with the protective pads on your Urshifu, okay? But I digress. With the Amoongus, I do like Terra Electric as well, you know, just because you're able to resist the flying coverage, you know, because you being a grass type is not great against the flying coverage. And then at the same time, you know, Terra Water might be great against like, you know, Heatran matchups or Chiyu matchups, but then I don't want to be weak to the, you know, the not only the Iron Bundle, but also Regieleki, you know, with that Terra Water. So I feel like Electric is just a very, very good, solid defensive typing in this case for Amoongus. All right, Urshifu, you know, I just like Terra Water, a little bit more damage, which is totally fine. You can even go like Terra Grass, if anything, you know, just to get around the Amoongus sometimes. So if you want to go that route, definitely do that. In fact, yeah, I'll just put the Sash here. Again, Surging Strikes, Close Combat, Aqua Jet, and then Protect in this last slot here. All right, and this will of course be a 252 set, just because you know, it's a Sashmon. Then from here, now what we can do is just round out Cresselia, Heatran, and Amoongus. So Amoongus, another easy one. We can just go with the set that we've always been using since like almost Regulation B. Just go to the optimal 219 number, which will optimize for a regenerator. You know, 1/3 of your HP. 1/3 of 219 is going to be 73, a perfect 73, which is what you want, not 72 point something or 73.1 something, which would round down just to 73 or 72. I want a flat 73. Then we'll go to the second EV bump in the defense nature, getting me to 121 stat. So 156 investment is what we need there. And then 108 in special defense. And I'm just going to, of course, go with 0 speed. So this way in Trick Room from the Cresselia, I will be the fastest thing there. Heatran, I have similar ideas to the Heatran, just like the Moltres. I want to be able to, you know, click an Earth Power into a Regieleki, you know, if I do encounter that. And what I can do, you know, 138 will get that job done. Actually, I don't want to speed. I want to go to 140, right? So this way, actually, let me think about this. Actually, you know what? With my Moltres, let's go 108 here, and let's go 140 on our Moltres, and then at the same time we'll go 139 on the Heatran. And the reason being is I want the Fiery Wrath to go first, so this way I could potentially get these flinches, and then Heatran is safe and able to stay on the field and then go for either like a Heat Wave or some Terra Blast option, right? So we'll go that route. Okay, then from here, a little bit of Life Orb optimization, just 20 HP there just to do that. and then just max special attack. That's really all you want out of your Heatran, in all honesty, right? You can put 1 point in this bulk, but I didn't feel that it was necessary. Then the Cress. So the Cress, the main thing I wanted to live was just like Shadow Ball from a modest 116 specs Flutter Mane. So to do that, basically I also went with a modest nature, by the way. I also want to do damage, but I went with 220 investment to go to this 223 base mark. And then I went with 132 special defense. And if you go into a damage calculator, this is what's going to help you survive against, again, that Shadow Ball Flutter Mane modest 116. Again, we all know the damage calculator website, just feel free to plug it in. And then from there, just 1 point in the speed. I can go 116 modest nature over here. So this way, at the very least, I get to the jump. So a little bit of damage out of my psychic, all right, as well as a little bit of damage from Icy Wind, and then the rest just goes into defense like this. Really all you need, because you already have Landorus here, making you relatively bulky overall. But I like this team when I was testing it. I feel like it was really, really nice and solid. Okay, I had a lot of different options. I had Tailwind support. You have Intimidate cycling. You have Trick Room over here. You have Icy Wind pressure. And then, of course, you have Urshifu just breaking things with its Surging Strike. So this is what I was using in testing. So I'll show you some sample battles that I was doing with this. And then I'll show you some other options that I was trying to use in terms of building, version 2 and 3 of our Galarian Moltres squad. Okay, so this one is against a Trick Room team with Indeedee, Heatran, Kingambit, Azumarill, and Ursaluna. And again, what did we say about these 3 options in our previous video? They're all within a base 50 speed tier. So all of these have the same speed, but I'm sure if our opponent is a good team builder, he'll make them all have 3 different speed tiers and not have to be speed tying his own Pokemon. All right, but it's a Trick Room team. So from here, again, I like Landorus in the Ursaluna matchup, so I'm gonna have that, just to be able to intimidate cycle it. I like Urshifu just overall, just being able to punch through, especially a lot of his options here. And then from there, I do like the Cresselia in the back over here. So let's just go ahead and play that. So it's gonna be Urshifu, it's gonna be my Landorus, there's the Heatran, and then there's the Azumarill, right? So not the combo I was expecting, so to speak. So this is honestly just free damage into the Heatran. There's no real safe way for him to set up this Trick Room. My lead is too aggressive. All right, so I'm just going to punch through the Heatran here. All right, so that's good damage from the Surging Strikes. Not going to kill, but that's okay because I have Landorus going for U-turn, denying him the Trick Room. And now I'm going to go into my Amoongus. All right, he goes for the Belly Room, but again, that's okay. That is okay. And now he goes into the Kingambit. That's fine. So he goes Terra Flying, so not wanting to take super effective damage from close combat. So it's good chip damage anyway. I just want to redirect every single attack that the Azumarill or Kingambit gives me, and that was good chip damage from the Rocky Helmet. But again, Surging Strikes still doing good chip damage into the Kingambit, and because I have a Rocky Helmet, the Kingambit actually just removes itself. Great chip damage overall. Play Rough does kill my Amoongus, but again, that's more chip damage onto the Azumarill. There's the Ursaluna, and here's my Landorus. So now we get to freely intimidate the Ursaluna, and we can even cycle if we want. The Ursaluna has been intimidated, and it doesn't have the Guts boost this turn. I can freely punch it, and just deal like big damage just immediately. Okay, but he Aqua Jets my Landorus. I forgot he could do that. All right, and that was my mistake. I should have, of course, just gone with my Terra over there. But yeah, Aqua Jet does knock it out. Rock Slide does a little bit of chip damage, but again, this is totally fine because here's Galarian Moltres. I go into the Steel type. I Aqua Jet as Ursaluna. Doesn't really stand a chance. And Fiery Wrath, just in case the Azumarill went for the water move there. But we get the flinch because Galarian Moltres is so good. And from there, we pretty much just beat the Azumarill. He can't beat both of these options at the same time. So just a little bit of Surging Strikes, additional chip damage. And then from there, we just go for our Moltres attack and we're just able to pick up the win over here. Okay, he has a lot of fast options on his team with, first of all, Regieleki, Iron Bundle, Iron Valiant is interesting. And then, of course, the Thunders, which could be Prankster. And then the Urshifu, and then Ursaluna in the back over there. So, I like Cresselia over here. Like, I know he has a lot of, strong hard hitters, but but this Urshifu was it's actually the dark one. So honestly, unless he leads that, the Cresselia is kind of okay to lead here and just click Trick Room. I know he can click Taunt, but you know, that's not really going to help him all that much after that. Okay, so I'm gonna go with the Moltres in the beginning. Especially if he decided to lead the Urshifu, I always have to pin that slot. So he actually just goes into you know, Thunderous and the Iron Veiling here. So one with Fairy move and another one with Electric move. Not what Moltres wants to see. All right, but if he doesn't go for the taunt on my Cresselia, then you know, he's in a not so great of a spot. So I'm gonna tear my Moltres and not die to the Electric moves. And that's actually very interesting that he can give himself Electric Terrain. The Iron Valiant with the speed boost is doing a lot of damage, but because I tear it into steel, I'm able to take one, which means I get a Berserk boost. I get to use the Citrus Spray recovery, and that's really, really good damage, you know, to the Valiant and the Thunders overall. All right, and we actually just removed the Valiant because I went for Psychic. So here's the Ursaluna. That's okay, because now we go into the Landorus. We get to Intimidate, Cycle it. He goes for Eerie Impulse, great move, and my Moltres just doesn't do all that much damage now. There's the Headlong Rush. Even with the Intimidate, it's just able to remove our Moltres. But that's okay, because now we go into Urshifu-Rapid Strike, and there's another pin into that Ursaluna slot, especially after he clicked that move. But what I don't want to happen is, you know, the Thunderous, again, clicking an electric move on me. I know I have a Sash, but I still want to be able to protect my Sash. So what I'm going to do is just repivot my Landorus here. I don't know if this was like the smartest choice at the time, because I feel like I could have just taken out this Ursaluna and, you know, still kept my Sash even after Thunderbolt. That was probably the play, but I didn't want to lose the Urshifu just in case he had the Iron Bundle in the back. So I just wanted to play it safe, at least for now. So he goes for the Wild Bolt Storm. That's still fine. And there's the Facade, of course. Not all that great, all that useful. But there's the Thunder Wave. But thankfully, I'm still outspeeding the Ursaluna. The Psychic picks up the Thunderous. And you know, this is really all I needed Urshifu to do, just pick up the Ursaluna. And he did have the bundle in the back. So now this is a very easy play. Just set up Trick Room and we're fine. Because, you know, Freeze Dry does hurt, but we have a Sash anyway. But here's the Trick Room. Now we can just click Close Combat. And that pretty much ends it all there. Right? We saw the boost there. You know, we know he wasn't Focus Sash. So yeah, Urshifu showing up. Okay, and Cress had its job. You know, again, you could have just healed this paralysis with something like Lunar Blessing, but, you know, I digress. Okay, so this one is against a hyper-offensive team, you know, with Tornadus, Urshifu, and Regidrago. You know, Trick Room looks great if I'm able to set it up. You know, Moltres, again, looks like something that I could potentially bring, you know, just because I can take some of these special attacks relatively well, and I don't really care about Gyarados Intimidate. So, yeah. That's what I'm going to go for. So here we go. Cress, I'm going to go with Moltres, and he goes with Tornadus, and here is the Regidrago, right? So there's the Tailwind, and there is the Dragon Energy. So now, again, he chips my Moltres. I get my, you know, my health back, Fiery Wrath, and I go for the Icy Wind here just for a little bit of speed control, right? You know, just so that I can chip everything relatively well. I could have clicked Trick Room, but I decided not to because I thought he was going to go for Taunt into my Cresselia, but he did not go for Taunt. Okay, I just want to get a little more speed there. So there's the Bleak Wind Storm. He misses the Moltres. That's good for me. There's Terra Blast from Regidrago, proccing my Berserk yet again, and we just pick up both of these options, right? And there's the Lunar Blessing to get my Moltres back over half. Here's this Urshifu. Here's this Ursaluna. Again, just go into Landers, intimidate both of these, especially the Ursaluna. Wicked Blow almost kills my Landers. Rock Slide misses the Moltres, but because he's not burned and because he's intimidated, that's definitely not going to be able to pick up the Moltres. And then there's a Fiery Wrath. You almost wanted that to hit the Moltres, right? Just because it would have gave me another Berserk boost. But, you know, again, that's just such big damage, right? And now he gets the boost. But again, another position where we just have this Urshifu in front of their Ursaluna, you know, every single time. And there's really not much you can do. He clicks Protect, but you can't Protect in front of Urshifu. You're just going to be able to kill this every time. So Surging Strikes is able to pick up the Ursaluna here. And now all he has is just his own Urshifu. And Urslash is just able to pick that up and wrap it up over there. Okay, so that's going to be it. So now what I'm going to do before we get you back into Showdown is just show you a couple more options that I was considering, you know, besides the 6 that I showed you here. Okay, so this is a second variant of the squad I was also working at. So instead of like the Amoongus here and the Landorus, I opted for the Rillaboom. And again, with the Rillaboom, I'm able to get Fake Out. I still get my U-turn pivot like I did with Landorus. But then I get a little bit more of an aggressive grass option, you know, with Heatran and Urshifu. And, you know, I like Heatran and Rillaboom together. And if you also consider like Urshifu Rillaboom combination, like just these two as a lead, you have Fake Out pressure along with like Surging Strikes. And, you know, they can't protect against the Fake Out. And then you just get Surging Strikes to death. And then you just have like endgame options with either like Moltres over here, or also over here where like I just added Ursaluna just for like a stronger Trick Room mode in general. And, you know, Heatran, Moltres, you know, these are all Pokemon that can also, you know, function under Trick Room. So again, now with the Ursaluna coming in here, I feel like this is also really, really nice. And I added Ice Punch here just to have something against some of the genies. Because, you know, if you just consider what we have here, besides the Urshifu-Rapid Strike, I don't really have a way to hit some of those genies. So, like, Ice Punch just made a little bit more sense. And it's also good into the mirror matchup because, you know, again, Ursaluna is also a ground type. And this is also why I wanted Rillaboom on the team as well, just to give me a little bit more better of an Ursaluna matchup. So, you know, I think it makes a lot of sense here, you know, just to have something like this. And you can tell it's just like a little bit more aggressive. The third variant that I was using is this, where I have the Landorus and Amoongus back, but I have the Iron Hands here over here, right? And the whole idea with this concept is I still have the steel coverage with the Iron Hands over here. You know, I don't have the Heatran anymore, but that's okay. Iron Hands is another good Trick Room sweeper, you know, with the Cresselia over here, just healing it, you know, with Lunar Blessing. And then at the same time, I get my Intimidator back on the team, you know, along with U-turn. And what I'm also able to do is, again, with Fake Out, I can even set up my Tailwind potentially, or set up the Trick Room, you know, with my Cresselia, and then just, you know, pivot out into something like either Amoongus or, you know, even the Moltres if I fear, you know, some kind of ground attack coming in, you know, into the Iron Hands from either like a Landorus or another Ursaluna. But this is another way to use this kind of team. You know, again, you get Intimidate, you get a Fake Out, you get a Redirection Pokemon, you get Speed Control with the Tailwind, the Psychic, the Icy Wind, and Trick Room. So I feel like all three of these teams, I feel like can do relatively well. Just really just depends on the user piloting it. But I'm gonna explore a little bit more with this Rillaboom and Ursaluna variant, because I feel like I used it the least out of the other two, I should say, just because, you know, time is of the essence. But I know it works. It's just a matter of like which options do you want to use. And again, you notice that I didn't go with the Grimmsnarl variant just because I'm not ready to use it yet. I want to wait a little bit more because I'm trying to use that with Zapdos, which will be in another video coming soon. But yeah, let me know what you think of Moltres. Let me know which of these three you like. I'll put these in the video description below. And again, if you're interested in team building, you know, for Regulation D, you know, feel free to sign up on the channel, you know, for coaching with the tier 3 team building sub. It's in the video description, it's in the pinned comment, and every single video has a join button, you know, so feel free to click that. You know, feel free to also join the Discord, you know, where you can just have a good time there and just you know, talk all things team building and competitive Pokemon within the Discord. All right, but that's gonna do it for now, folks. Let me know what you think of Moltres. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out and have a good night.